Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it's going to be a ZVT between Scarlett and Vindicta here on Acropolis, the latter edition. Bottom right-hand corner, the red Terran player, Vindicta. And in the top left-hand corner, the blue Zerg player, Scarlett. Alright, so Canada versus the US here on Acropolis once again. Alright, so Vindicta, again, is an American Terran player playing for Alpha X, which is the same team that Future plays for. And Scarlett is a Canadian Zerg player who is quite famous. She is excellent at StarCraft 2. And this year is a little bit of a low spot for her, but she still has a lot of excellent skills, and she's going to give Vindicta everything he can handle. Alright, so I cast a Scarlett versus Massa best of 5 on the channel. Let's see, about a week ago here. If you haven't seen it, then go find it. It's my latest Sunday series, and this is, again, a bonus Patreon cast. Basically, that just means I put it up here a month before anybody else can see it, and yeah, if you, too, would like to see things a month before, I post them on YouTube, patreon.com/FalconPaladin. Alright, Scarlett, you're doing just standard stuff, and Vindicta here is going to go for a Reaper. And there it is, Reaper named Reapomatic 3000. The high casualty rate of Reapers in the Terran Dominion has started taking its toll. While there are an abundance of criminals to sentence to the Reaper program, there aren't always the most effective soldiers. An innovative scientist created a robot that can solve all their problems known as the Reapomatic 3000. This baby functions just like a regular Reaper, but is fueled by Zergling blood and probe tears. With such an inefficient fuel source, the Reapomatic 3000's prototype has been sent to the front lines, and the project has been abandoned. Perhaps if it can harvest enough Zergling blood and probe tears, it will return one day. What do you think, Reaper? Gonna do that SCV scout again, trying to see, just making sure there aren't links coming across to mess with this command center, because there's not much to stop it if the Reaper is away from home. SCV's blocking the third, simultaneously did scout the natural base, and so far pretty darn standard stuff here. We'll see how Scarlett chooses to deal with the SCV. It could be hard to do. Honestly here, this is probably going to be delayed quite a bit. One thing you can do is throw down the third base at like 2 minutes, but that does delay your queens and it does delay your speed, which honestly, all you really need at this point is a queen. So the slowlings don't really do much other than keep the drones alive. They can't do much to kill the Reaper, as it turns out. So Queen and Jax instead of spreading creep here. And it's actually not that long of a distance down here to the third base. So the Queen's going to make the slow march on down. This Queen will stay here. Yeah, not protecting the main base at all, just to make sure the Reaper can't get in. Kitty Charge does block it. But yeah, I mean, this is, again, it delays. It definitely does here. Scarlett wants to get that third base down around 240 or so, but hard to do when there's a Reaper and SCV. We'll see if she's actually going to take that third. I don't see her bringing it. There you go. The drone is coming down now. Ugh. Woo! Quick mute there for a sneeze. That came out of nowhere. But meantime, Vindicta, what are we working on, guy? There's a starport. We got double Hellions. And just 1-1-1ing it as standard as you can get. Reaper comes into the main base. There's a queen here already, because, again, the queen count is going to be pretty high. And all ZVTs and ZVPs and just Zerg in general likes their queens. They're just good units. Overlord speed is done. Love to see that early from the Zerg player. Gets the scout in, sees exactly what's coming. Sees what's likely to be a bio play. But again, this could switch any point now. The double gas is fairly normal at this stage. We take extra gas up here. That could definitely indicate a lot of tanks and Thors and things. But at the moment, really not much of a tell otherwise. It's just going to be Hellions. It's going to be Stim. Overlord comes back in for the scout. The Vikings going to have something to say about that, as it's going to pop here in just a second. Hellions checking to see if there's a fourth base anywhere. There's not. Overlord is dead, as Viking damage is long-ranged and hits hard. Overlord can't even hope to escape, as Viking is quite fast as well. There's your lair from Scarlett. She put 3 workers back on the extractor. She was on 2 for a little bit there, and has taken her third and fourth. Oops, second and third extractors, and maybe a fourth one in here in the main in just a minute. She's really droning hard, though. She is sitting here at 44 workers. Playing well. Ling's coming to see what are we dealing with, and the answer is just 4 more Hellions and a third command center coming up. Beautiful scout from Scarlett, recognizing that command center. Hellions at the front, trying to make sure creep spreading is harder to do. And actually coming down the ramp there onto the creep that already exists is that creep tumor, which always a fun animation to see. Creep spreading out to the edges of her base. Scarlett is. I love that too. And Overlord just running about trying to see if there's a drop or anything on the way, and there's really not. Fusion Core coming in from Vindicta. And a Banshee. Could this... I mean, the third and fourth gases are coming up. There's really not a lot here otherwise. It looks like Vindicta is going for a battle cruiser, and indeed he is. But a 5-minute battle cruiser here. Scarlett's making Lings and Banelings. Assuming it's going to be some kind of a Hellion Hellbat style attack, or maybe Lings and tank, or maybe Marines and tanks. Don't know. Overseer comes in. Overseer, what timing you have? Get in. Get in. Oh, doesn't actually see the fusion core. Doesn't see the fusion core, guys. Okay, that's massive. Factory, definitely mech following it up here. This could be a pretty strong little push Terrans can do. It's like a Hellbat Banshee battle cruiser style push here. You can take down, like, you motto down a couple of these queens and get in there with the Hellbats. The Lings aren't going to do very well, and the battle cruisers, if they get target fired by the Banshee, for example, takes a lot of APM, but these players are definitely up to it. Vindicta, a fantastic Terran player for sure, one of those young and up-and-coming players that the U.S. has. Love to see it. Love to see the talent here at WCS Fall in the group stages. Yeah, so battle cruiser just about done. I mean, until that's complete, not much else is going to happen here. The Hellions are going to poke around the front, but they can't accomplish much otherwise. The problem for Vindicta is that Scarlett's got a fourth base coming up. She is happily sitting on 70 workers, and economically, she's just as happy as a clam. Is this Overseer going to see anything? Might have caught a glimpse of that battle cruiser. Just jumps up, decides maybe to try to go after these BCs, but there are already 5 queens here inside the main base, and they've got transfuses for days. So the queens are in their main base defending. And yeah, I mean, it's just that's why you connect your bases with creep. So queens can respond to situations like they see a battle cruiser warping in. The Overlords had full vision on that the whole time. Battle cruiser's not doing a whole lot. If there's a base down here, maybe that'd be threatened, but not so much either. Another battle cruiser in production. And we are going to see some of this race car mech stuff as magfield accelerators are being upgraded for Cyclones. Which, do we have any of those yet? No, but there is one in production, so definitely going to be a race car mech with battle cruiser support. But guess what? Scarlett already has Corruptors. I think this battle cruiser is dead. Oh yeah, Corruptors were built for this. And battle cruiser down. That's a huge setback for Vindicta. Trying to get in here with some Hellions, but a handful of Roaches defending there too. So Scarlett not going crazy with Roaches and not going crazy with Corruptors either. Just making enough to deal with battle cruisers if they show up. Enough Roaches to shove away these Hellions, and then other than that, working on +1 melee attack, going for a Hive, and +1 missile attack. It is going to be Ravagers, right? The Ravagers are what you want versus this race car style of play. Overseer coming in for what I feel like is about Scarlett's 6th or 7th scout of the day, and is effectively untouched as it comes into the main base, sees what's up, sees the factories, sees the starport, working on something that's probably going to be Liberators. It could also be Banshees, but either way, Corruptors are going to be a decent answer for that. The response is going to be fairly similar either way, and Scarlett is making some Infestors, which are just the frosting on the cake. I mean, it's really just what it comes down to is Infestors are fantastic no matter what composition you're using. Really, no matter what the opposing Terran player is going to do, Infestors are going to be useful. Fungal's going to be nice. Neural, going to be decent in a lot of situations, but Infested Terrans also other situations. But Fungal alone, especially if you can fungal this race car mech that is really fast, if you can fungal them so that they can get caught by things like Roaches and Ravagers and Banelings, it's going to be good for you. Yamato says, goodbye, Queen. She's running, but she knows she dead as her corpse slams into that hive. Overlord comes in for the scout. Maybe trying to take down the spawning pool. I don't know. Just firing while moving. That's generally how this goes. Firing while moving is one of the upgrades that battle cruisers were given when they were upgraded to usable status here in StarCraft 2 a while ago. Scarlett taking a 5th base. Vindicta could probably use a 4th. Has a command center for it. Perhaps a little bit worried about the incoming attack, but Scarlett pretty bare bones right now. I don't know that she's in a great position to move out and kill anything. She's just mostly defending. She's at 81 workers. Vindicta's also at 78. His macro's been pretty fantastic. And Vindicta cruising around this bottom side here, trying to see creep tumors to kill or what. Now, with the Infestors present, again, things change. Things get a lot easier for the Zerg player with these spellcasters. If you're a lower league player having a hard time breaking into higher levels, you just got to practice with Infestors and Vipers, man. Blue Flame Hellions here at that 4th base. They are YOLO'd in here. The split is pretty good from Scarlett. And there's actually a Cyclone in the midst. Hellbat trying to do some stuff too. Doesn't really get a lot accomplished. Push up the front here with some Blue Flame Hellions trying to do some stuff as well. Just, again, splitting Scarlett's forces and just absorbing Bailing shots into your face isn't really where you want to be here either. No, why would you stop? Stops to fire on that Bailing, but Vindicta just not really worried about that Hellion staying alive, which it is the sign of a super high-level player that they care that every one of their units lives that can live. If you're running away, make sure everybody escapes. Guess who's got Broodlords? I don't know about this, Scarlett. I'm not a huge fan of Broodlords versus Race Car Mech. Did you see that fungal? What the? Oh, Widowmines. Do you see how that fungal slowed that army down? I do. Liberator sets up, going after this larva. Larva deaths are a big deal for Zerg. They want as much larva as possible. It's just army supplies 112 to 88 right now. Vindicta, he needs tanks. That'd be nice. He needs a bunch of Vikings. That would also be nice. This base of Scarlet up at the top is going to die. That will be her 6th. It does get canceled. That's a major victory. But does she have an answer to these Broodlords at the moment? Not really, no. Vindicta trying to get Thors, actually. Trying to use Thors as an answer here. Battlecruiser, I mean, does actually do pretty well in this situation. You can deal with the Queens. Oh, this is so bad for Vindicta. You really got to see the Broodlords are coming in and have Vikings out faster than this. If you don't have Vikings, it's really hard to deal with them. Cyclone trying to deal damage to the BC, but the transfuses are really good. Planetary Fortress in here fighting. Tanks exploding. Corrosive Biles landing on the SCVs that are trying to fight here too. Both players have lost a ton of workers in the last little bit. But Scarlet's army is about 20 higher than the Terran opponent. The Vikings are present now. Broodlord count kind of hard to tell, but it's still 5 in the mix. The Planetary Fortress of Vindictus does end up going down. Thor getting exploded here too. Liberator Corrosive Bile down to the ground. Vikings doing pretty good against these Broodlords, but additional ones are coming in here as well. Just marching up with a handful of Ravagers. Fungal getting tossed down on these Vikings. The Infested Terrans coming out. Remember what I said about Infestors making everything a little bit easier for the Zerg. Makes getting rid of these Vikings a lot easier here too. 30 SCVs have gone down. Battlecruiser trying to fight. Has 24 kills. Trying to keep this command center alive. It is getting chewed upon by everything in the entire world. The Viking does manage to take down a couple Broodlords there. And Scarlet's army does end up getting slowly whittled down here with the Thors. A handful of Lings are cruising in, but that's not going to be enough. The fact that Scarlet lost a bunch of drones there meant this was not a huge style attack on the follow-up. But as it stands, the economy was hurt by that Liberator attack, and now the Corruptors are flying around trying to see what they can do. But guess what? Thor's pretty good against those guys. And the command center lives. Missile turret doing some damage there too. Army supply is 62 to 40. Vindicta down to a 3-basing Terran. Did lose 1, but did force a cancel on Scarlet's 6th. Did kill a ton of drones in the last couple of minutes here. 25 drones were killed. Scarlet does have 87 workers, which means, however, that she spent resources and she spent larva on making drones instead of making army. In a situation where she didn't lose that economy, she would have followed that up with another giant army after the first one was dead. She wasn't able to do it. She didn't have the bank. She didn't have the larva count, and as a result, Vindicta is not dead. So that's one thing you can do, ladies and gentlemen, is if you see a big Zerg attack coming in, try to do a Liberator attack or Banshees or Hellions or something to slow down the Zerg attack, so that if you hold here, like Rainer willing, right, then you don't just die to the follow-up. Anyway, static defense here from Scarlet, which I really love. I love static defense. I say that all the time. Pros don't like it as much as I do. I think a lot of it is hubris. A lot of them is just saying, well, I can deal with attacks as they show up instantly. I won't lose any drones. I have army anyway. Just use the army to defend against these attacks. But sometimes you can't get there. Sometimes your army's just a little bit out of position and you lose like 16 drones of Blue Flame Hellions when you could have saved a lot of them by throwing up 4 spines at your 6th, as Scarlet is doing. Staking a 7th down south here too. Hellion attacks continuing to push on in, and really Vindicta just is being given another chance to live here. What is killing more Liberator stuff, man? Sure, the Corruptors are going to kill this Liberator, but that is 7 kills. That's 8 kills you wouldn't have otherwise. Roach is chasing these Hellions away. Roach is waiting for the Hellions on the other side here too. And yeah, 16 more drones down. Scarlet's down to 69 workers. Vindicta actually has a worker lead. Now, army supply is favoring Scarlet quite a bit. That's a lot of Banelings. They just want the SCVs, man. They don't care about this planetary fortress. And they get 16 SCVs, which does put Scarlet back in the lead, 77 to 57. So, yeah, that's brutal. But we got the roaches here from Scarlett. Not a huge fan of roach. Just going to say. But again, the presence of the infestors makes the roaches about 1,000,000 times better. So, fair enough. Fair play. Boy, I cast a best of 7 between Impact and Cure out on africatv.com/laughinggames about a week or so ago. Which I retweeted the VOD to that. Just twitter.com/Falcon Paladin. Anyway, for some reason, Impact refused to make Infestors or Broodlords. I don't know what it was. He really was like trying to win a bet or something that he can win a ZVT series without making any Infestors or Broodlords. It was driving me insane. It's really frustrating stuff to watch as somebody who knows how you have to play Zerg. And I mean, tell you what, he had a hard time with it. Ooh, the Blue Flame Hellions trying to do with these Infestors, but the Fungal and the Roach follow-up is pretty good. Blue Flame Hellbat trying to attack up into the 6th. Nope, that's not going to happen for you either. Now, has Vindicta learned his lesson? Do you have his Viking count? He does. His Vikings are here. He's got 7 Vikings for the 5 Broodlords that exist. That's a pretty good ratio, honestly. The upgrades here are plus air weapons. Any of those? No plus air weapons, which seems like a problem. You're going to want that a little bit. But ghosts and the increased EMP shockwave upgrade, which I like, increases the radius of EMP. If you can catch those infestors with it, you're going to have a good time. So let's see if Vindicta can hold off here or not. Liberator setting up at Vindicta's attempt at a 5th base. That does hold off the Horde for just a little bit here. Finally knocking down these rocks. She's been working on this for a while. Liberators, tanks getting set up. Thor's here too. Working on another Spire for some reason is Scarlett. She didn't lose her first one, did she? No, she just wants additional upgrades. She's getting +1 Flyer Carapace, and she wants +1 attack to be researched at the same time. Prosabile taking down a Liberator. Just, you know, slow and steady, patient here. Out of Scarlett. Broodlords cruising on in. Another Ghost Academy coming in, which for some reason, maybe for nukes? Is Vindicta going for nukes here? I don't know. But the Thors, again, if they can get direct hits off on those Broodlords, they hit them really hard. That was 2 shots on that Broodlord. It took it down to 100 HP. Which is like less than half of what it normally has. I'm telling you, Broodlords tear through these guys. The problem is that getting to the Broodlords is hard when there are Infestors and Vipers around. So, boy, they just chomped down that Planetary Fortress real fast, didn't they? The repair was not enough. The Fungal was kind of a problem. Scarlett just decides to back on out. We'll kill that base. Creep spread amazing because it's always amazing for her. And, yeah, Liberator sets up and says, let's go ahead and kill some more of these drones, if when we can. Not really able to, unfortunately, as the response here from Scarlett was pretty good. Spore Crawler coming in. Oh, just get out of position a little bit here. Trying to make sure that the mining here is not very easy for the Zerg player. Army supply 128 to 137. Scarlett has a lead, but Vindicta is maxed out. The problem is his army's out of position, and he's going to lose his 4th base in pretty much a couple seconds here. He just wasn't ready. He didn't know where the Zerg army was. He didn't respond properly. Sure, a lot of drones have gone down, but a ton of SCVs died during that battle. Parasitic Bomb on the Vikings. Great split off there, but so many Fungals on the air units. It slows them. It does damage to them. It makes them that much more susceptible to Parasitic Bomb when it's launched the next time. And I think Scarlett, again, not really in a great position numerically here, but with all those Vikings injured and the Liberators and Infested Terrans coming down to wipe out the air units, the Broodlords are taking direct hits, though, from the Vikings. Oh, but the Vikings are all gone, and that's it. Vindicta is out. Scarlett is your winner here in 18 minutes and 45 seconds. See the Infested Terrans below, wiping out the last Liberator, the last vestige of anti-air versus these Broodlords. The Thors doing some good work, but again, without any support, they're going to be pretty bad. And Scarlett does end up getting the win. So people have said, you know, how do I deal with mech compositions as Zerg? The answer is always spellcasters. It's always going to be Blinding Cloud. Again, we didn't see that from Scarlett today, but it would have been really good against these Thors anyway. Good against tanks. Better against tanks, because they can't move out of it at all if they're in siege mode. But more importantly, Fungal Growth, Infested Terrans, and Neural Parasite. You can neural a couple of these Thors if you want, whatever. Whatever you feel like doing. And then you can just deal with the air stuff. Once the air stuff is gone, and there's something buffer for these Broodlords, like these Infested Terrans, for example, or these Roaches, then the Broodlords are just going to wreck at that point. Don't show up with just Broodlords and Corruptors. You're going to have a bad time. It's a really kind of complicated dance here. But in the hands of somebody like Scarlett, it looks easy. It really does. And I'm getting a lot of comments in this video saying that Zerg is OP. And yeah, I can see that. I don't know how you handle this as Terran. I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe splitting your Vikings a little bit, bringing them over here, making sure they're not clumped up so a parasitic bomb can't get them, so that fungal doesn't attack more than 1 or 2 of them at a time. Maybe a couple tanks back here firing on these infested Terrans as they get tossed down. It's really a lot of high APM requirements to deal with this. But again, this is a high APM setup anyway. So both players playing pretty well there. Scarlett, I mean, tried to kill Vindicta at about the 13-minute mark and couldn't do it. So props to Vindicta there, but she came back again. Both players were maxed out. It was just a matter of positioning. It was a matter of composition. And at the end of the day, Scarlett got the win. So 11 Thors were down, 15 Ravagers, 3 Infestors, 17 Broodlords died. That's a lot of Broodlords dead. That is a surprisingly high number of Broodlords dead. 15 Vikings killed, 2 battle cruisers, a couple ghosts. Steady targeting pretty good against Broodlords if you can get close enough to actually hit them with steady targeting, which I know is not a guarantee. And 3 planetary fortresses, which is a big deal. 1 hatch did get killed at the end of the day. 26,000 losses for Scarlett and 33,000 for Vindicta. Additionally, Vindicta, here's the problem with your mech, is it's hard to get out here and actually kill bases. Didn't really kill bases. Again, did a good job killing drones, right? If you can kill 55 drones in an 18-minute game, that's not bad. But you can't lose 72 SCVs on the other end and expect to win. So do a better job babysitting your bases, keeping those alive, continue to harass and kill drones, and maybe that would have been enough for Vindicta just to have enough big enough army to handle that. And a good enough economy to handle it too. So, hoorah! All right. Well, that's going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch. /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.